Fans of the Horus Heresy, thank you very much for joining me for another how-to video looking at the Sisters of Silence Kharon Pattern Aquisitor by Forge World. So, following on from my video this morning, I've been working away at this model over the course of a day. As you can see, we're still at the breakfast bar. I've kind of like been nibbling away at this, doing a bit, going away and doing some other stuff and coming back and working on with it. And I've been watching the comments over the course of today, and commentator FaceCannons, great name by the way mate, asked if I could do an update video showing how it was all going to come together once I'd done the work that I explained in my previous video. So I always like to try please you guys and girls, so here we go, a quick update video. So what have I done? The upper and lower hull are now attached. I've done some work on cleaning this up. I've located these two, I've done the work on this part, and then we've got a couple more components that are details to the hull that are going to come into it. Let's start with the upper and lower hull. These now stuck together, and I've got to admit, I was really pleased with the fit I got around the hull. If we just take a little guided tour of this. If you can see some faint yellow material, that's some milliput filler that I used to seal up any remaining gap. There wasn't much, it was a little bit, mainly around here and here, but to be honest, I put a thin sausage, shall we say, running down each edge when I super glued it, and then I grabbed it and I squeezed it together really hard to compress it all into a bunch, and then the filler just splurged out the side, and then I went along with a knife and a couple of other tools to clean it all up, and yeah, it looks really good. And if you remember what I said I was going to do, I was going to line the position of this upper hull with the lower hull with the reference point of the access hatch. So if we take the closed version of the access hatch and locate it, there we go. And in my mind, that's a really neat fit I've got. Maybe a little bit of filler to put in there on this piece, but overall that's a really good fit and I'm dead pleased with it. I'm really pleased. There's a bit of work to do on the inside. There's a part to go in there as well, so don't worry about that. Yeah, really good. And then if we repeat the exercise with the open access hatch, we get a similar result. Very good. I cut this peg down so it would locate properly. This has been designed with these cutouts for 8mm magnets. I'm going to mount a magnet into here as well, and here, and that will properly secure it, or really firmly secure it. There's a fair bit of weight in that part, and even more so in this one. So yeah, I think that will hold it really firmly while it's in use. So good stuff. Now, so that's like the pretty end. Now, if we go to the less pretty end, let me show you what's happened. As I said, I was going to put all the misalignment, I was going to work it all to the back and deal with it this end, which I have done. So what I've done is I've cut down the inside of this louver with a chisel and a knife. When I say a chisel, I mean one of these guys. So this is a 2mm square chisel for modeling. Very useful tool. And I use that to cut down this bit, and I also used it to cut these down as well, because all these were standing proud by about 0.5 mm to 1 mm. So I've done that. So that now means that that is pretty flat, and then when we take this bit, the exhaust for, I don't know, heresy exhausting or whatever, that now sits in there really well, and it's a good, firm, effective fit. Before I glue this on, I will finish cleaning this up a bit more. So that's good. Now, the bit which has required the most work is the rear hull, so this piece. And if you remember, what I said is I thought that this was too long, these two parts of this rear arch, shall we say. So what I've done is I just got a large piece of wet and dry sandpaper, put some water on it, so I was wet sanding to get it so I didn't have lots of resin dust floating around, and just did this for a bit. So I probably took around 1 mm off. Now if I put this here, we can see we've got a nice alignment there. Do the same again, a nice alignment there. So all good. But there are a couple of things left to do yet to get this perfect. So the first thing that I was thinking, the instruction guide tells you to build this in this order. So it tells you stick this bit on and then put this bit on. I thought, well, doing that, it'll kind of get in the way of doing the finishing work on this. So I thought I'll take that away, put that in place like so, and then see if this still fits, and lo and behold it does. So I'm going to do this bit first, do all the cleanup, filling and smoothing, and then I'll mount the exhaust in last. Right, when it's all lined up, I can see that I've got good continuity of form in certain places, but less so in others. So you can see this part here is nicely aligned with the hull inside this cowl. Likewise, these bits here are all well aligned. This engine cowling, perhaps, we don't know exactly what it is, lines up okay, but this bit here doesn't. It seems to be a bit proud. It depends how smooth you want the model to look. I look on the other side and do the same sort of alignment bits. So we can see that that's aligned there, that's aligned there, it's aligned up here, and you can see that this bit here is a bit proud and not smooth. So I'm trying to figure out how should it look. This is when it's useful to look at the original CAD render to try figure it out. And I think this one here illustrates what it's supposed to look like. Right, so here, this is smooth and I can see it's a continuous surface. There's no step in it. And likewise on this diagram, it shows the same thing. And I think this final one as well, it does here. So you're kind of limited by the directions I show you. I've also looked on the Forge World website, their studio model, to see how theirs looked. And it was a smooth continuous surface. The next bit of work on this, and this is what I'm going to do this evening, is I'm going to put some pins into this. So probably a large pin running down this spine that goes in here. This is a long piece. It's got quite a large attachment point, but it could get broken and knocked off quite easily given the amount of leverage you get on it. So I'm going to put a big pin through it to hold it in place. So it's got like a spine down it. I'll stick that, and then I'm going to, using that chisel, some knives and files, I'm going to smooth off the profile of this plate here and here and fill it, and I'll fill it all the way around to get a really smooth finish, because I think, you know, that's part of what this kit is. And then I'm also going to do some work building up the base of these to make it look like a continuous pattern. And I'm probably going to sand a bit more off here and then build a bit of milliput up down there as well. By doing a bit on each part, bit here and a bit here, it smooths off the angle. And I don't want to take too much off here to visually keep the profile of how this curve is going and this plate's going. So that's my thinking around that. That's the next step in assembling this Kharon model. Once that's done, I've got these shims to take out, put the details on. I've got a couple of magnets on order, so I don't know when they'll be here, probably the middle of next week, and then I'll be able to do the front, and then it'll be done. So I don't know, sometime middle to back end of next week, I should have a final model review up of this. I might do another update, depends how the rest of the construction work goes, but I'll probably just cover that off in the final model review. There you go, FaceCannon. I hope you found that a useful video. As always, please let me know your thoughts and observations in the comment section. Other than that, I'd just like to say thank you very much for watching. I'll speak to you next time, and goodbye.